name is Zhao Yuqian. Thank you for having me at this conference. Since 2019, I have been doing doctoral research at the University of Yuqian in the field of gamification of children's coding education. And before I came to Finland since 2016, I had been working as the product manager of an IT company in China for a business program called Coding for Children, where we developed an online game for children to learn to code. And we also designed plenty of coursewares in which gamification was applied. And by distance education, cooperating with a charity organization, I have been teaching coding for the left behind children in a mountain area in Hubei Province, China, since early 2019. Nowadays, as the COVID-19 pandemic is raging across the world, in many countries, school education has to shift to distance education. Today, I will share my thoughts on the major problems of distance education for children, and I suggest that gamification can be a solution to some problem.
There will be 3 parts of my presentation, as you can see on the slide. First of all, I will briefly introduce the progress of the epidemic in China, which is the background of my topic. Well, how did this global crisis start? The timeline begins at the end of last year. On December 30th, 2019, a warning was sent to the outside world via social media by an eye doctor named Li Wenliang in Wuhan, China. He said that patients with infections similar to SARS were found in the hospital he worked. This doctor was later regarded as the whistleblower of the epidemic. However, public information released by the local government stated that the virus found in Wuhan was the limited human-to-human transmission that could be controlled. On January 20th, 2020, the leader of the expert group of the China National Health and Safety Commission admitted to the media that the virus was definitely passed from person to person. At 10 a.m. on January 23rd, 2020, Wuhan, the city with a population of over 11 million people, was closed. January 24th, 2020, was the beginning of the Chinese New Year holiday, and from then on, cities and even small villages in China started to control personnel access, and people did their best to stay at home. On March 31st, 2020, a research article published on Science indicated that the control measures conducted in China interrupted and delayed the transmission of the COVID-19 virus, and the findings could be useful to other countries. Now let's look into the distance education currently conducted in China. On January 27th, 2020, the Ministry of Education of China decided to postpone the start of the 2020 spring semester. Before the schools are officially started, most schools began online distance education at the end of February and early March. Children learning coding from me live in Enshi, a mountain area which is 500 kilometers away from Wuhan, and it is also in Hubei Province, the epidemic center of China. The good news is that all my pupils there are safe. They are now taking distance education managed by their schools from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., Monday to Friday. Now that my pupils have been taking distance education from their schools for more than 1 month, I did a questionnaire survey. From the results of the survey, I found that the children take distance education with smartphone, and the courses are existing online teaching videos selected by the teachers. The teachers assign and gather homework through social media groups. There's no worry about data fee because the government provides poor families with free data service. Here is a video shared by one of my pupils about how he is taking the distance education. And I found some major problems in the distance education as follows. 1. The children's guardians have to supervise the learning. Otherwise, the children cannot focus on the long-term study by facing the smartphone day after day. 2. There's little communication between students. 3. Excessive use of electronic devices may do harm to children's health. Besides the problems, all the children reply in the questionnaire that they prefer to go to school, and compared to classroom teaching, the distance education is boring and tiring. Contrast with my pupils' coding study, Apparently, the key is the right courseware design. I cannot provide a perfect solution to all the problems, but at least there is a solution to the first problem. To keep children interested and persistent, it is necessary to replace passive learning with active learning, and gamification has been proved to be effective in my practice of distance education in coding. Here I will share 3 example courses I taught the children to code during the pandemic. The courses are designed not only to teach the coding knowledge, but also to let children acknowledge the ongoing events. And during such a critical crisis, it is also important to care for children's mental health. Therefore, in the courseware design, I try to guide the children to have a positive and optimistic attitude towards the epidemic. So now let's just play with the courses. We use Scratch, a block-based coding language developed by MIT Media Lab. It makes coding like a traditional game, building blocks. That is always fun for children. And the Raspberry Pi is the hardware we use. The first course is to make a classic dodge game. We need to let the player use arrows on the keyboard to dodge the virus, and meanwhile get more health points by touching the personal protection equipment, the face mask, the goggle, and the hand sanitizer. The second course is to make an animation about the correct way of washing hands. The third course is to make a chart to analyze the COVID-19 situation in a country. As we can see, to learn the 3 courses, children don't need supervision from their guardians, as the courses are designed to get the children interested and involved by playing with the graphical coding blocks. When the children accomplish the coding missions, they accomplish learning the related coding knowledge. To sum up, traditionally, distance education is a supplement to school education. However, if a crisis like the COVID-19 pandemic happens, distance education is likely to become a vital educational approach for quite a long time. Some experts predict that the COVID-19 crisis could last 2 years based on current knowledge. That would be a major change, especially for children's education. Under circumstances, I propose to strengthen the related research on gamification and provide effective courseware design. Thank you.